I'm live. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dark Discussion Podcast. My name is Isaac, and I'm here for episode 6. I'm once again alone. If you didn't see the last episode, I was with my boy Lohan126TV, my friend Logan. We talked about movies. We talked about the PlayStation 5. We talked about 6ix9ine. We talked about music. Yeah, me and him talked about quite a few things. But now I am joined by no one but myself, well, and Bob, but he's always here. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Obviously, I do a lot of different things, both on YouTube and off. So today I'm going to be answering a long list of questions, and I categorize them based on, like, the subject of the work. Like, I divided by music, YouTube, blogging, and I think that's it. But I'm going to pull up the list right now, and we'll get to that in a few seconds-ish. Yeah. So, yeah, if you didn't see last episode or episodes beforehand, there's the main Dark Discussion playlist. I don't know why I can't talk. The main Dark Discussion playlist has all the episodes in one. I'm going to center this so you can just loop that if you want. All right, so I have a Google Doc because it's the 21st century. So yeah, I categorize them by music, YouTube, reviews/critic, writing/blogging. So yeah, the biggest one is music because I guess there's a lot more to talk about. So yeah, I'm just going to answer each and every single one. How much time will that take? I don't know. How much depth will I go into for each question? I have no idea. I don't like the way Bob is positioned, so I'm going to quickly change that. All right, let's go, Bob. Did I ever tell the story of how Bob came to be on this? I don't think I ever did. I'm going to quickly do that. So Bob, my homie over here, this big lad right here I have had for 6 years. So when I was in the 4th grade, I would get distracted very easily, much like I do now. And I would doodle a lot. Like I would just draw Mario characters, Pokemon, or just doodle dumb faces. So I started consistently drawing this face of bushy hair, bushy eyebrows, face, goatee, and a big mole on the side of the face. And I was consistently drawing that, and I eventually named it Bob. And I would draw that on pretty much every single piece of paper I would get, including papers I would receive in therapy. I was enrolled in therapy back then, and I would always draw a picture of Bob in therapy as well. So eventually, my therapist, this wasn't my idea, my therapist pitched the idea of, what if we made a big stuffed animal of Bob? And I was just like, oh yeah, great idea. So she made the body. We had to pick a main color, and I just said green. I liked green. So she made a big ball, and then we made that. And I still have him, and it took me, apparently, for some reason, it took me 6 years to make him my mascot. I've been on YouTube for 5 years, and only now is he actually a part of my channel. And even though he's like the only original thing I've ever done. So yeah, that's a thing. I apologize if there's any noise coming from the fan, but I'm not doing this without a fucking fan. Not going to happen. So yeah, that's the story of Bob. And now I just put him in my thumbnails and in the background videos because, again, he's the only original thing I have. So let's go to the actual point of this video. All right, so we're going to start off with the musician category. First question would be biggest inspiration to music. So I'm not someone who necessarily gets inspired by a lot of things, or like a lot of people, at least. I'm more inspired by like life experiences, I guess you could say. But when I was first starting music out, the 3 artists, I've said this before on Instagram, and I've probably said it here before, the 3 artists that influenced my sound the most were Dax, XXX, and Logic. Because when I first started, I already knew that I wanted to do multiple styles. When I first started making music, I knew I didn't want to stick to just hip-hop. So that's where my, like, I guess you could say versatility came from. X, I guess he was my inspiration for that, because X is, I think, in my opinion, he is the most versatile artist of the last many years. He does all sorts of stuff, and that's sort of how I got that inspiration. And then Dax, when I first started, I was never going to do like any sort of like grizzly voice. But Dax sort of has this performance style where he sometimes just straight raps with like no like grisliness in his voice, but then eventually like builds up this aggression where it's like not like straight up screaming, but it's like this aggressive, grisly sound. And that I sort of got a lot of inspiration from that. And you can definitely notice that in the beginning where I like start off calmer and get more and more aggressive. And that's definitely something I've kept up today, just I guess in different styles. And then Logic, I'd say at the beginning of my rap career, what I focused on the most from like a hip hop standpoint was my flow. As much as I've noticed the importance now of punchlines, double, triple entendres, consistent rhyme schemes, stuff like that is stuff that makes a great rap song. But at the beginning, I was definitely focused on flow, and I definitely got a lot of my inspiration from Logic, because I think, Logic gets a lot of hate because he has made 2 really bad albums in the last couple of years, and I'm talking like horrendous. But if there's anything he can do, it's fast flows. Like that is definitely his shtick. He can nail his fast flows, I think. So that's where I got inspiration from that at the beginning. Question 2. 3 favorite songs by yourself. That is very difficult for me because, again, I do a lot of different kinds of songs. Like I have a favorite chill song, a favorite screamo, a favorite straight rap. I do all sorts of things because I don't like to stick to one style. I like to change it up. I like to be, I don't like to be predictable, I guess you could say. Like as I was saying, like my favorite screamo song of mine is definitely Soul Eater. It's by far Soul Eater. I don't know. I mean, my favorite songs of mine, Still Bleeding, No Tear, and Soul Eater are still 3 of my favorites for sure. And then for my most recent album as well, there was Hope You Like Me is one of my favorites. Wasted Hours is one of my favorites for sure. As I was talking about before, the starting off chill and then building up the aggression. I loved that in Wasted Hours. That was produced by Caps Control, who is insanely good at this. I loved that beat, and I love what I did with it. Shouts to them. Yeah, those are, I don't know, 3 of my, I can't pick my 3 like number 1 favorites, but those are just some that I like. On SoundCloud and Spotify, I have there is a Best of Dark1saac playlist on my artist profile, where I put, and it's, I made them. It's my personal favorites of my songs. So I guess you can sort of base my answer off of that. What does the process of an album look like? It's usually hell. Well, it used to be hell. I guess it's not so much anymore. Something that I don't do, I don't know who does this really. I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't. I never come up with an album concept or even an album title before I make the track list. I've tried to do that before, and it does not work. For me, at least, it does not work. But the process of an album, it's never the same. It's never consistent. It's usually just, if this is usually how it goes. I hear a beat I like. I write to it. I write to it for however long I feel the need to. I got that done. I record it, mix and master it. There you go. I got a complete song. Drop that in my folder. Come back to it eventually. And I do that again 5 times. And now that I have a few songs to like look at and like decide what to do with them, I think of album and EP ideas. That's sort of how it usually goes. Innocent Until Proven Guilty. I probably had half, maybe 2/3 of the album done before coming up with the name Innocent Until Proven Guilty. And there were songs that were scrapped from it. And like 2 or 3 of the songs that were on Love Letters from the Devil were going to be on Innocent Until Proven Guilty. But I just had all these songs done, and I wanted to pick which would fit the album the most. And I think what I did worked out the best. But yeah, like there were songs that are probably never going to be released, have unreleased songs that I just don't think are good enough to put out. And I definitely did question what songs to put on Love Letters from the Devil and Innocent Until Proven Guilty. Like picking between those two for certain songs was definitely difficult at times. But yeah, like the process of an album is never consistent. I mean, I guess it is in a way where it's don't create an album art or album title until track list is done. That is what I do. That's about it to it. There's, there's other things that go into it, I guess, but the long process of just piecing it together isn't that interesting to talk about. My dream collab. Oh man, that's I talked about this before on Instagram. Who, if I could collaborate with any artist, who would it be? There's a lot of options. If we're talking about dead or alive, I can't say X and Juice WRLD wouldn't be a desire of mine. I can't say those wouldn't be amazing. But like Eminem, of course, would be amazing. Dax, Quideka, Crypt. Those are definitely some options. Man, I don't know. I definitely have some unpopular opinions too. Like, I would, like, no joke, I would love to piece together a song with Ashniko if I could. I would 100% do that if I had the opportunity. Yeah, but like basically, like I would love to collab with most artists, honestly, because like I can appreciate people's art. I can appreciate people's independent art and what they love to do. For me, it more boils down to them as a person more than their style of music, I guess you could say. Like, since I'm very, very, very underground, like I've been asked questions like, would you collab? Would you do a song with Jake Paul just for the boosted numbers? I wouldn't. I genuinely wouldn't, because I would not be happy with myself for doing so. Same with I've heard that about 6ix9ine before. Like, no, I wouldn't do that, because numbers isn't what means to me. It doesn't mean much to me at all. So it just would not be worth it anyway, because I wouldn't be happy with it. So yeah, there's a lot of artists I would love to collab with. Yeah, there's a lot. How does distribution work? Well, if you're signed to a label, I'm sure it's entirely different. I can't tell you what that's like, but I'm just going to give my best advice on what I use. I use a program called DistroKid. Basically, it costs $20 a year, and you just use it to upload your music to any platform you want. You can choose the platforms you don't want it to go to if you want. But yeah, it's that simple. It's basically the same as uploading to YouTube or SoundCloud, except it does cost $20 a year. But I definitely say there's a good chance of earning that money back in your first year. Did I? Yes, I did. So yeah, but also, if you don't, that's okay, because you probably will over time anyway. And also, it's about the love of the work, isn't it? So yeah, that's what I use, and that's what I would recommend. It's very, very simple and not expensive. Like if it was $20 a month, I wouldn't recommend it for upcoming artists, at least, like people like me who don't really make much money off of their work. But yeah, $20 a year, very good price in my opinion, and it works very easily. So that's my advice. What made you start doing music? Oh, there's a long process behind that. Well, I mean, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. So I've still been doing that. Like, I've been doing that for a long time. And, in 2018, it's part of 2018 and mostly 2019. No, 2018. 2018, I sort of had a bit of a hiatus on YouTube because two things were going on that weren't helping, which was with YouTube, I was sort of feeling a little bit uninspired to keep making YouTube videos, and YouTube kept attacking my channel because of their demonetization system. So both of those were very difficult to work with, and I was sort of just struggling to, come up with ideas that made me happy and keep up a consistent schedule. Like, I was really struggling with that stuff. So, I took a long break from doing YouTube, and in that time, I started writing music because it was a way for me to, I guess, express my feelings. I guess you could say, I would write down my feelings through songs. And yeah, that's how I started writing music. And then eventually got to a point where I wanted to start making something again, but I didn't want to go back to YouTube yet. So I started crafting what became Devil on Your Shoulder, my first EP. I had no prior music experience, none whatsoever. I had no musical software. I had no history with any music, yeah. I didn't know how to mix and master. I didn't know how to produce. I didn't know how to rap. I didn't know how to do anything, but I did it. And, I released Devil on Your Shoulder knowing it wasn't good. And I wanted so bad to make sure no one at my school found out about it. So they did, of course. But yeah, like I released it knowing it wasn't good. But you're going to, in anything, any media that you want to make public, you're going to have to experience that at some point. Like, I've released probably around 800 YouTube videos in my time, and I can't even remotely say I'm proud of a lot of them. I released my first many projects knowing they weren't very good, but, for me, it was always about improving over time and evolving and just growing as an artist. And I believe I've done that. I believe I have. Like, the fact that, like, if you compare my first and final project of 2019, I think I managed to improve very well in the span of 1 year because I just kept doing it. I released an EP, 2 months later, an EP, 2 months later, an album, 1 month later, an album. I just kept releasing things and kept coming up with new ways to do things. And, I definitely think, like, I'm far from perfect. I'd say I'm decent at best, but for me, music, like, honestly, I'd say YouTube, videos and writing is my biggest passion. I'd say music is more of a hobby. I just focused on it more last year. But yeah, like I managed to improve a lot by just constantly releasing things. Like I still can't believe I did what I did last year. Like I'm so glad I'm not doing that this year. At this point, I had 2 EPs and 2 albums. Yeah, no. I've had 1 EP and 1 album out this year, literally half. I'm very happy with that. But I'm glad I did what I did last year because it helped me improve over time. And that was definitely a good way to go about things. Next question. Most lyrical song. I have no idea. I got nothing. BoJack Horseman is up there. Definitely up there. It's fast, has rhyme schemes, it has flows, it has punchlines. Like, definitely a lot of lyrical stuff going on. Don't Need to Be Famous. It's kind of lyrical. Kind of. Pills has flow, but nothing else. So it's not a good song, but, I definitely have I definitely did good flow-wise in there. My song Blood, the beginning of it has good flow. Yeah, I mean, for me, I do believe, like, lyrics are what makes a technical good rapper. Like, whether or not you like Eminem's music, you can't deny that he is insanely talented when it comes to hip-hop music. But for me, it's just like, if I spend too much time worrying about the technical side of the rhyme schemes, the punchlines and stuff like that, it takes away the genuine feeling that it could give off if I don't do that. I've definitely done it before, and I definitely will do it again. But, if I'm writing down an expressive song and I take the time to worry about whether or not it's a technical rap song, it takes away so much of what the song is supposed to be, of like expression, emotion, feeling, I try to be genuine in my music. And I feel like lyrical, like caring too much about technical lyrics is a risk to take that away from it. So that's why I think artists like Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Tupac, of course, are some of the greatest of all time, because they are some of the very few hip-hop artists that I believe managed to keep the genuine feeling and also incorporate technical lyrics. Like all of the artists I just mentioned have insane rhyme schemes, flows, punchlines, double, triple entendres, so much, just so much. And they still have the feeling of genuineness. Like Tupac, of course, talks about life. He talks about life issues. Eminem talks about a lot of his life issues. And I feel like that's what makes some of them the best of all time. And I'm not trying to be the best of all time. I definitely don't think I have that much potential. But, I worry more about the meaning of the song. But I do plan to work with lyrical stuff more often. Tips for artists starting out. I mean, for me, this is a tip for not just musical artists, just anybody that wants to make some form of art and release it. Don't care what other people say about you. And that's not even just related to art. In general, if you want to express yourself in a way, if you are passionate about something, don't let other people's opinions, don't let your insecurities, don't let other people put you in a shell. Just do what will bring you joy. Do what brings your passion out. Just do it. Like, I can't reiterate this enough with how much I started with nothing when it comes to my projects. Like on YouTube, I had an iPhone 4 and a 3DS. That's how I started. And, there's definitely been times where I would feel hurt by insults or disses. And, that's for personal reasons. I've talked about this before in my 5-year anniversary video. But I'm just at a point where I struggle to care what other people think of me, and that's a good thing. I know it's hard to do so, but just try to not care what other people say about the work you put out. And as long as you are doing it with heart and passion, it's beautiful in its own way. Keep doing what you love to do. Don't let anyone hold you back. That's my best advice. And I still don't have enough experience with a lot of things to even give a lot of advice when it comes to actually crafting the work. I'd say I know a lot more about videos and music, videos and writing than I do about music. But just in general, don't worry about what other people think. Like, some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it, no matter what. That is just the case. And, I definitely had to learn that early on. I've been doing this for 5 fucking years. And there's a lot I had to learn in that time. Just don't let people hold you back. Don't let people hold you back. Do what your heart wants you to do. Follow your passion. That's my best advice. One final question for the music category. How do you feel about critics reviewing passion projects? This has definitely been a topic in music reviews as a whole. I've heard Anthony Fantano talk about it, who's probably the biggest music critic online. It depends. Like, if it's an underground artist and that underground artist doesn't want people to review their music publicly, I think, it would be a respectful thing to not do so. But, if you're, popular artists, it's sort of just a too bad thing for them. Like, if someone who's as popular as like Travis Scott or Drake puts a lot of heart and emotion into a project and it turns out garbage, you can't expect people to not criticize it. Just in general, people are going to criticize you. Like, that is just going to happen. But yeah, I definitely do think it would, like for music critics, if you stumble across an underground artist and that underground artist doesn't want you to review their music publicly, I think it is a respectful thing to just say, okay, that's fine. But yeah, like, if you're really popular, it's sort of just too bad. Yeah. So yeah, that is the end of the questions for music. If you have any more, put them in chat and I'll answer them this stream. If you're watching this in the future, comment them down below and hopefully I'll get to them in the next podcast. But for now, I'm going to move on to the YouTube section. So this one is going to be probably a little more interesting because I've been doing it for so much longer and I've done way more things. So, best and worst moments of YouTube, of doing YouTube. Wow, there's so many. So many good and so many bad. I'd say one of the best moments was the very first time I ever got an email from someone who watched my videos. The most subs I ever had was 210-ish, and you would never expect, I never expected at that size to get any sort of like recognition from people. Yeah, like over my YouTube career, I've gotten somewhere between 5 and 10 emails from people that watch my videos, enjoy what I do, and want to say something nice. So every single time that happened was very important to me. And the very first time, obviously, it hit different than any other. Yeah, that's one of the best for sure. It was in like 2017-ish, mid 2017, I'd say. So yeah, that's up there, 100%. Other best moments were just, honestly, just getting a chance to do a lot of fun stuff with my friends. Like, from 2015 to 2018, I did so many skits, challenge videos, and big gaming videos, and just vlogs, and just the combination of the energy you have being with your close friends and the energy you get from being on camera for YouTube is just such an interesting clash to a lot of really exciting and fun moments that I cherish to this day. Some of the worst moments were what started my YouTube hiatus of 2018 was when YouTube demonetized the life out of my channel. My first few demonetized videos didn't mean that much. I thought it was funny, if anything. But over the course of like a week, YouTube went fully in on that channel, demonetizing video after video after video, videos that weren't even new. They were old, but I guess YouTube system, because since the algorithm updates all the time, the updates now have to detect all the videos, so they eventually detect older ones as well, I guess. But yeah, just video after video was being demonetized, and it's not like I was making bank off YouTube, and like it's not the money that mattered. It's that one, YouTube was coming after my channel, something that meant a lot to me, and two, being demonetized also means your video will not be recommended as much, which kind of sucks, like that just kind of sucks. And and if it's age restricted, then no one can watch it unless their account is signed under someone. I don't know if it's 13 or over or 18 or over. It's probably 18 or over. Yeah, it's definitely 18 or over. So yeah, that happened and that sucked. And then like all of 2018 from in general, but also from like a creative standpoint, it was just not a good year because I was just really struggling with what to do with it. But yeah, honestly, there weren't that many bad moments of doing YouTube besides that. My first 2.5 years. I'd say my first 2.5 years were really good. Just overall, like the only thing that really happened that was like hurtful was when I talked about this in my 5-year anniversary podcast, which was when someone would insult my channel. And it's like, now, again, I don't care. It just means nothing to me when someone insults it because, again, it's about doing what I love to do. But I'm just going to quickly over what I talked about in that podcast, which was just the mental state I was in at the beginning of my YouTube career. It was like 6 months, maybe a year before I started doing YouTube that my mental health started declining. And I started my YouTube channel as not necessarily a way of venting, but a way of just finding something to enjoy myself with. I loved video games and I loved YouTube. I watched YouTubers like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Smosh. They were really big in 2015. So yeah, I was kind of inspired by them, but I loved video games and I liked the idea because I'm a very introverted person. I'm a very antisocial person. So I love the idea of communicating with an audience who can't see me as opposed to interacting with people who can. So yeah, I started that because I was just in a really bad mindset. And to this day, my personal projects are just something to turn to when I need to. And that's why back then, when it was first starting, it meant even more to me because I don't know if it meant more to me or if it was just more sensitive, but like it was brand new and it was really helping me a lot. So that's why insults would get to me a lot more than they do now. It was really difficult back then. And yeah, so those were like worst, terrible, god awful moments, but like it sucked for me because, I started when I was 9, I was in the 4th grade when I started, going into 5th grade, 6th grade, it stung when someone would insult it because, I can't, I don't know if I can say YouTube saved my life, but in many ways it saved my life. And it helped. Regardless, it helped me in so many ways. So that's why it was just more personal. Insults were more personal back then. So I digress. Next question. Oh, opinions on old versus new YouTube. Oh, I have such mixed feelings on that. I know most people are going to say old YouTube, but not too old. I don't know, man. It's so hard to say. As for like the platform itself, like the layout, the way it looks, I prefer it now because back in the day, it used to be really ugly. And the recommendation, like all the bars on screen were in weird places and everything was weird. I don't like that personally. But like as of creators, it's hard to say because there's so many great creators to this day on the platform. But over the last few years, just I don't know what it is, but the term clout chasers is a word I don't throw around much, but clout chasers and clickbaiting just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And there's been this consistency of people coming to YouTube for money, people coming to YouTube for fame, and I love YouTube because it's a place for people to come to express their ideas and follow their passion in a way that is easy. And that's what I loved about it, and that's what I still love about it. But now there's so many people that are doing it for the exact opposite reason, and that I hate. That I hate. I would love to go back to 2015. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Not in general. But like, if we could turn the platform into what it was in like 2015-ish, that would be amazing. I would love that. But you can't really. You can't. But I still like to focus on the better sides though, because there's so many talented, genuine, caring people on the platform. And I believe YouTube can recover, and I think there's still so much beauty to the platform that isn't acknowledged enough. So what made you start doing YouTube? I pretty much just covered that. Sorry, because I reiterated what I said in a few podcasts ago. It was just an outlet. It was just something for fun, and it was just something for me to find joy in during dark times. And I love it. I still love it. Like, regardless of what the platform is doing to me, the platform itself, or its other creators, I love YouTube. I always have, and I can't let go of it because it still means a lot to me. What makes a good YouTuber? I also partially covered this, I think, because I think, I said I started with nothing. You don't even have to get something, I think, to be a good YouTuber. I don't care if your videos are in 480 or 4K. I don't care if your quality sounds like this or like professional high quality. Did I break this by doing that? I hope I didn't. Please let me know if I did. I hope that's not a thing that I did. We're probably fine. No, I don't care what your quality is. I don't care how high your quality is at all. I care about your heart, your character, and who you are as a person. That is what I think matters. Because unlike any other form of media, social media and YouTube has the ability to interact with the audience directly and indirectly. And that is something that I believe is so important and so amazing about the platform. And I think the ability to do that in a great way is what makes a great YouTuber. I think my favorite example would be Markiplier, who I did watch a lot back in the day. He is like one of the most deserving people of the success they have on YouTube. He is he does his charity streams all the time. That's not something he has to do. His merchandise money goes all to charity. He talks to his fans. He interacts with his fans. He actually won the Make-A-Wish Foundation Celebrity of the Year award a couple years ago, which I think that's a weird thing to get an award for. But like, I think he is one of the most genuine people on the platform that deserve what they have the most. And there's obviously many others, but like, I think that was just one of the best comparisons or one of the best examples. Yeah, that's what I think makes a great YouTuber. I don't think you need to have the highest quality or the best charisma or the best editing. You know, I think your character matters the most. How long does it take to make a video? It can vary from 2 minutes to days upon days. You know, it really depends. It mainly depends on the editing. It can also depend on the filming, depending on the type of content you're making. Usually depends on the editing. Because even gaming content used to take me a long time because of the editing. If you film for half an hour, you edit for maybe an hour, you let it render for half an hour, and you upload it for half an hour. It's 2.5 hours. Technically an hour of it, you're not doing anything, but like an hour of editing for one gaming video. Man, when I was doing skits, like when I first started doing skits, they were really shitty, but eventually I started doing sound effects and music and stuff, and oh my, it took so long to edit those in perfect because I wanted to make sure it correlated with the actions and stuff, you know? Like, it can take a long time. And, you know, there's also the making of the thumbnail, which you don't always have to do, of course, but, you know, I usually prefer to do so. Yeah, it depends. Sometimes if you want to, you can not cut up a video, and the only time that it'll take is however long you record for. And editing, of course, it can take anywhere from 10 minutes if it's just a cool, calm video, and it can take days. It can take days if you want to get it right. And also depends on the platform you're using, of course. I used Adobe Premiere Pro for most of my YouTube career, but most people are stuck in the position of using either iMovie or Movie Maker, and it's not easy. It is not easy. So, yeah, it can take there's no defined amount of time. It can take any length of time. And, you know, usually it's really fun, of course. Like, I love doing it, but, you know, there's definitely been times where you're trying to get a video so perfect that it's just taking you forever to get the edits right. So that does happen. Final question for the YouTube category is advice to newcomers, advice to new content creators. I got to keep it the same, you know, just don't let other people hold you back and keep true to yourself. It just doesn't get any harder than that, in my opinion. You know, I could give advice on thumbnails, titles. I could, because of how long I was on YouTube. I was able to learn quite a bit about the algorithm. But, you know, I don't think that's something that you should always worry about. And I think it's better to learn that over time, because if you start immediately with all that knowledge and you start using that knowledge immediately, I feel like it'll be easier to distance yourself from the reason you started. And I feel like in order to be a good YouTuber, your reason of starting has to be you loved it. You love it. I feel like it has to be that. So yeah, just do what you love. Excuse me, Jesus. Do what you love. Follow your passion. Don't let anyone hold you back. That's it. All right, so now we got a few questions regarding my critic stance, which I have definitely faced backlash for more than anything else, because I tend to be harsh. I can't lie. I tend to be harsh, but I'm just being honest. You know, I'm just honest. I'm just honest about my opinions on things. So, are there any reviews that you would take back or alter? Absolutely. Man, maybe I could do like a post on Instagram of like of songs that like I reviewed in the past but are now updated to something else. I could do that. There are absolutely grades I would have to change. You know, songs on Roddy Ricch's album, songs on Trippie Redd's albums, maybe some Lil Uzi Vert songs, maybe a couple of the Dr. Dre album I reviewed. I have reviewed many songs too high and too low, and I'm trying to make sure I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it definitely has happened, and you know, there are songs I would take back, like Roddy Ricch's High Fashion. Oh man, I think I gave it a 4 out of 10. That song is like a 1.5 or a 2. It's awful, man. When I was writing my article on it, it just clicked how bad that song is, and I can't believe I gave it a 4 when I could have given it a 2. But there's also songs I would have ranked higher, of course. You know, honestly, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but they do exist. So yes, absolutely, there are songs I would like review differently today. What is the process of a review? Usually I listen to it casually in my headphones, one more time on my free time. Yeah, I start to listen to it twice in my free time, and then I sit down and listen to it while looking at the lyrics, and I write stuff down. I write down my pros and cons, things I like, things I didn't like, things I thought could have been better, things that I thought were really impressive, stuff like that. I have on my shelf there, I have my old review book. Now I have a different one because that one got filled up. But yeah, I write down my pros and cons of the songs, and then I give it a grading out of 10, move on to the next song, and then at the end, I calculate the average. And then I look at it all and decide what I think this album deserves overall. So, yeah, that's about it. Like, my Post Malone Stoney review. Sure, why not? This is sort of what it looks like. Just write down name of the song and then pros and cons. Broken Whiskey Glass had good vocals, good production, very decent lyrics, pretty good structure. It's kind of slow though, and there's a bit of a weird voice filter in the second verse that I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall it was still pretty solid, so I gave it a 7 out of 10. Fast forwarding to I don't know, Deja Vu. There was a lot of bad in Deja Vu. I ended up giving a 5 out of 10. You know, it had pretty good lyrics. It actually pretty damn good lyrics in the first verse. But then the vocals on the chorus were really bad, and Justin Bieber's part was really bad. I don't think he handled his lyrics well. I don't think he handled his performance well. I don't think he even matched the tone of the song very well. So yeah, that's sort of what goes into a review. I listen to it twice in my free time, and then once I sit down and really look at it. So yeah, when you really look at it, it takes a lot of time, and yet there are still things I would change. But that's why I don't change things all that often, because, you know, it genuinely does take a long time. If the album is 40 minutes long, I've spent a long time listening to that album, and I don't want to do it again. So yeah. What are your most controversial reviews, and why do you think they are controversial is the last question for reviews. I'd say my 2 most critical, no, that's the wrong word, most controversial album reviews are Roddy Ricch's Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial and Tyler, the Creator's Igor. I did not like these projects either. I gave both of them a 4 out of 10. Roddy Ricch, his album is said to be one of the best of last year, and Tyler's Creator got a Grammy, and people love those motherfuckers. I did not like either project at all. Why were they controversial? Just because people loved them so much. And why did people love them so much? I don't know. That's something I'm really trying to figure out to this day. I actually have a potential guest to come onto this show that I want to talk to about Tyler, the Creator's Igor album, because I genuinely want to understand what people like about it. Because, in my opinion, there is not a single good lyric on it. There is pretty much no good vocals throughout it. There is a lot of bad production on it. And the idea of a rapper making an album that isn't rap isn't very unique anymore. So why do I have to give him so much credit for that? Like, people tell me you got to acknowledge that it was a very different thing for him to do. But that happens all the time because music is like, it's subjective, it's diverse, it's versatile. Like, there's so much you can do with it. So when you start branching into other genres, it's not that uncommon anymore. Like, I don't feel like Tyler deserves a whole lot of credit for making a funk R&B album. Like, I just think that itself doesn't really mean anything. But again, I have a potential guest. I haven't set a date with them yet, but that's because I have someone that I want to interview or have on the show first before them. And then after that, I will talk to them about having them on the show. But yeah, I just, but Roddy vs. Album, I understand more because, it's certainly more modern rap-like. It definitely reminds me of Lil Uzi Vert in a lot of ways and Travis Scott in a lot of ways, Young Thug in a lot of ways. I understand it. I just think there was a lot of sloppiness in it. I think there was a lot of bad choruses, a lot of filler, a lot of bad bars, a lot of bad vocals. There's a lot of things I didn't like in it. You know what? I just had a great idea for the next podcast. I'm going to ask people on Instagram and Twitter and anywhere else, whatever, to give me what review of mine do you want me to talk about on a podcast? Because again, I keep the books that I write about, and I do have articles about my reviews of Igor, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, and KSI's Dissimulation. I did write articles about all of those, but there's definitely more I could talk about because I didn't want to stretch it out too long. And there's definitely more things I could talk about because I have ranked a lot of popular albums very low. And there is a lot of popular artists I really don't like. So yeah, that's a pretty decent idea. I could just go in depth on why I don't like these things, and I could show the process of reviewing them given the books that I have. So now we just got 2 questions for my writing/blogging. When did you start writing seriously? That's a great question. I have no idea. I don't know when I started. I don't really know when I first started writing seriously, but I was interested in storytelling at a very young age because I was a very different and weird kid. I was very creative, but again, in very weird ways. And I also always was into dark stories. Big surprise. When I was 6, maybe 7 years old, I would play with my superhero action figures and shit. I would give them very complex personalities and tell very complex, dark-themed stories through them. That's a little creepy. I don't know how I didn't grow up worse, but it is what I did. So I was definitely into storytelling at a young age, and eventually I got into writing those stories. But I grew up with the internet and computers very young. Like, I was introduced to computers probably when I was maybe 2, because I played computer games with my dad. I could barely do anything, but I played a few computer games with my dad when I was 2 years old. So I sort of just naturally learned how to type properly. There's a lot of people. I remember in 8th grade last year, if we were in the library sitting at computers, and I just hear someone say, "Bro, how does he type so fast?" referring to me. And it's just I don't know. It's just because I spent so much time on the computers growing up. So yeah, I just learned how to type very well in my own time by myself. And I've always had a creative mind, I guess. Now I'm really into writing of all kinds. I've written biographies. I've written, whenever essays come around for school, people are dreading it. I'm pretty excited because it's the best mark I'm going to get all year. Of course, I write my articles, my blogs about either my personal life or my personal opinions or, my opinions on news. I write all sorts of things now. And, eventually I had to start writing scripts and started writing down things for videos. I've written all sorts of things, and I don't know what it is. I'd say writing is my biggest skill. I've gotten good at YouTube videos, and I think I've gotten good at certain parts of music. A lot of room for improvement there. But yeah, videos I'm pretty good at, I think. Writing, I believe, is my biggest skill, actually. So, yeah. And then final question of the day. How long does a blog take to finish from start to publishing? Anywhere from half an hour to a couple days, maybe. But that really just depends on whether or not I want to take a break. If I'm really in the zone and I'm just really pouring it all out, I can get a blog. I can start up a blog and get it up by the end of the day. That is usually what happens. Yeah, that actually is nearly always what happens. Yeah, stop blaming media for everything. Am I a harsh critic? Why I didn't like the simulation. Why I didn't like Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. The Day Smosh Died. 5 Amazing Producers. Why I didn't like Igor. Yeah, all of these I wrote in one day. All of these I started and then published it right after it was done. So yeah, it doesn't take me that long. I've never done like a words per minute test or anything like that because I don't really care. But I do know it's a little bit above average because I remember for English class we all had to consistently write for I think it was 7 minutes straight, and I then looked up what the average words per minute was just because I was curious, and I was definitely way quicker. But yeah, I've never really done tests like that. I'm not really sure how good I actually am. I know I'm good, but am I great, amazing? I don't know, but I'm good at it and I enjoy it. So yeah, it doesn't take me that long to do. Yeah, it just doesn't. So that is all the questions I have written down. Besides that, I don't have a whole lot to say. I guess I'll just quickly discuss other things, and then I'll be getting off. Music. My EP, Love Letters from the Devil, is out everywhere on all streaming platforms. Same with my album, Innocent Until Proven Guilty, which was released a month prior. Both of those projects, I think, have some solid tracks on them. If you are interested in hearing them, those exist. You can check them out. I also have a different channel. It's called My Name is Isaac. I don't believe there's a link in the description, but you can find it in the featured channels on my channel. On there, I do a lot of gaming content, and I'm going to start doing some more commentary videos. That channel is a lot more laid back. Like Dark Isaac is strictly music. This, I just run the podcast. But on My Name is Isaac, I do whatever the hell I want, kind of like I did when I first started YouTube, and that's what I've been loving about it. So yeah, that exists if you just are intrigued by a little bit more of whatever the hell I plan on doing. And then yeah, of course, there's the blog site, darkdiscussion.webnode.com. And yes, I have been very inactive on the Dark Discussion Instagram account, but I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, like a lot. I'm pretty damn busy. And as I said, the process of listening to an entire album many times, it just isn't exactly what I'm looking for right now. But I'll get back to it eventually. But now is just not really the time. I'd say next month I'll start being weekly on there. I'll start doing weekly posts on there again. Now is not the time. Now is not at all the time for that. So, yeah, that's about all I have for now. I would love to go live again, hopefully early next week, maybe this weekend. What day is it? I lose track of the days every day now. It's Monday. So, yeah, hopefully... Yeah, that'll probably work. This coming week, the next coming weekend, I will be live with a guest, hopefully. Don't quote me on that, but hopefully. That's what I'm going to try and go for. So yeah, thank you to anyone that tuned into the stream. Thank you anybody that tuned in after, in the future. I'm illiterate. Kill me. Thank you for watching again. This has been your boy. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't sign off this way. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace the hell out, y'all.